Hey guys, let's get more news about Dallas, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Cowboys vet turns heads by claiming team is lying about roster move. The Dallas Cowboys offseason was full of drama, and it looks like this is following the franchise into the regular season. Dallas placed veteran defensive tackle Jordan Phillips on injured reserve with an injured wrist. This is a normal transaction, and these types of moves means the player will miss at least 4 games. The problem is Phillips is claiming he is not injured. Cowboys DT Jordan Phillips said he is going on injured reserve, but there is nothing wrong with his wrist, All City DLS Clarence Hill Jr. detailed in a September 18, 2024, message on X. He said his wrist is fine. It is what it is. He has to accept the decision of the organization. Phillips previously underwent wrist surgery to repair an injury. There are 2 potential possibilities when it comes to the truth of Phillips' wrist. One is that there is some discrepancy between how team doctors view Phillips' injury and the way the veteran feels. Another more troublesome option is the Cowboys are placing Phillips on IR in an attempt to open up a roster spot. Dallas used the spot created by Phillips' move to injured reserve to poach defensive tackle Carlos Watkins from the Washington Commanders practice squad. If this was the case, why wouldn't Dallas simply release Phillips to create the spot permanently rather than using the injured reserve as a temporary solution? The Cowboys may be reluctant to move on from Phillips so quickly since the franchise just acquired the defender via a trade with the New York Giants in August. Dallas still owes New York a future draft pick as part of the deal for Phillips. Trade updates. With Jordan Phillips on 46-man for 2 games, the Cowboys give up their 6th-round pick in 26 to Giants and get NY's 7th-round pick in 26, ESPN's Todd Archer said on X on September 17. With Peyton Hendershot released by KC, Chiefs will keep 26 7th-round pick since he was not on 53 for 5 games or 46 for 3. Regardless, it is not the best look for a player to be at odds with the franchise over the truthfulness of his injury designation. Phillips did not hold back in his discussions with reporters about the team's decision to shelf him for the next 4 weeks. Cowboys DT Jordan Phillips on a wrist injury that landed him on the IR and how it came about, I don't know. That's above my pay grade. You have to ask the people making the decisions, Fort Worth Star-Telegram's Nick Harris detailed in a September 18 message on X, was clearly frustrated in the locker room today and said his wrist was fine. Disputes about his health aside, the bigger issue is that Phillips has not played well in his brief stint with the Cowboys. Phillips earned a dismal 29.6 grade, out of 100, from Pro Football Focus for his play through the first 2 games. NFL Analytics Survey, teams using advanced stats most, least. The Cleveland Browns are 1-1 with a precarious quarterback situation but still rank at the top of the NFL in one category, analytics. That's according to an ESPN poll of analytics staffers around the league. It's a crown the Browns have defended for years. They took the title from the Baltimore Ravens in our 2021 survey and have maintained it since. This year's survey, which poses various questions about the usage of advanced metrics in the NFL, was sent to an analytics staffer from each of the 32 teams. Though they were allowed to collaborate with co-workers, ESPN asked for 1 submission per organization to limit biases. I received answers from 22 teams. Some participants left comments, and I called others for contextual follow-ups. All were granted anonymity so they could speak freely and were allowed to abstain from certain questions. Survey responses were received in August. Our questions delve into which teams are believed to be the most and least analytically advanced, how often the data is directly incorporated into on-field decisions, and even who could be the next analytically minded general manager. I also asked our surveyees to make a series of probabilistic predictions about specific questions around the NFL. Overall, the idea was to get a larger understanding of analytics throughout the league today. Let's dig in on the findings. It wasn't simply that the Browns were named the most analytically advanced organization, it's that they swept all 3 major categories. A plurality of their analytics peers felt the Browns produced more advanced quantitative work than any other team, used it in decision-making most effectively or both. "I just think they're so far ahead in terms of who they have on staff," a member of another AFC team's analytics department said. "Their data collection is advanced. The infrastructure that they've built over the past, decade still puts them ahead of the rest of the league." Cleveland was only narrowly voted as the team that incorporates analytics the most into its decision-making, and some felt even if Cleveland was the most advanced organization, the Eagles actually incorporate the data more into their strategy, despite the team's high-profile error on fourth down at the end of its Week 2 Monday Night Football loss to the Falcons. Analytics and data is about seeking out information and being sort of ruthless about having a process on that. And they are pretty ruthless about having a process on that. They are going to take value where they can get it, said one senior analytics worker, who cited Philadelphia's high volume of trades. The Eagles' 2022 trade with the Saints, when they were essentially given a second and third-round pick just to delay a first-round selection 1 year, was a slam dunk value-wise. And though fourth downs are just one small piece of the analytics pie, the Eagles have ranked in the top 5 in terms of least total win probability sacrificed through fourth down errors in each of the past 3 seasons, according to ESPN Analytics. Ironic, perhaps, given that blunder on Monday. The Bills ranked first in each of the past 2 years. I should warn, however, that judging fourth down decisions, even over an entire season, can be noisy. The product of most quantitative analysis is far less apparent because it could influence free agent signings, draft decisions, play calling, or other areas that don't scream analytics even if there is quantitative reasoning behind those choices. According to one analytics director, knowing the degree to which analytics informs decision-making is a little bit harder to determine even as an analyst on a team. It's always hard to know exactly how much of the stuff you're providing is truly being used in a meaningful way. The Ravens joined the Eagles in the tier below the Browns, but ahead of everyone else. Baltimore has the big staff and they're doing good work from what you can tell, added the same analytics director, who voted for the Ravens as most analytically advanced. I know their facility is extremely technically rigged. I know that they're tracking everything. Emmitt Smith has harsh words for Dallas Cowboys fan base. Emmitt Smith is one of the most popular players Dallas Cowboys fans have ever had the pleasure of rooting for. He remains the number 1 rusher in NFL history and helped America's team win 3 Super Bowls in the 1990s. Despite his deep ties to the franchise, Smith has had no problem criticizing the team when they're not playing well. He's also willing to let the fans know when they're being unreasonable, which happened when he spoke with Mackenzie Salmon of USA Today recently. Salmon asked Smith if he thinks Cowboys fans should be worried about their team's chances of success this season. His answer was brutally honest as he not only said they should be worried, but that the fan base is oftentimes misguided and led by emotions. Smith said they got caught up going against the Cleveland Browns, believing they were going to be a dominant team without looking at the quality of the opponent they were facing. He said using emotion rather than knowledge had fans expecting a much better performance against the New Orleans Saints, who Smith clearly believes is a superior opponent to Cleveland. And you fan? What do you think of the situation of Emmitt Smith? Leave your opinion in the comments.